Full disclaimer, please do not be this guy. Well, welcome to our project regarding shooting a free throw with Jinu, Edward, and I, Darwin. Before we begin, all planes of motion occurring in this video are occurring in the sagittal plane. So let's move on. So our group did the biomechanics of a free throw shot. We categorized each phase as starting position, force production, and follow-through. The joints that are involved include the shoulder, wrist, and elbow joints in the upper extremity, and also involve the hip, knee, and ankle joints in the lower extremity. So let's look at the starting position. As we can see, the athlete is squared up. His feet are parallel to his shoulders and is directly facing the basketball hoop. We can also observe that his shoulder girdle is slightly depressed, his elbows are flexed, and also his forearms are pronated. And if you can see closely, the wrists are slightly extended to make sure he has a grip on the ball. As we segue into the force production phase, we can see that the athlete is gradually squatting down to generate enough force from his legs to get power to shoot the ball high and far enough to reach the net. The axis of rotation in this scenario is shown both in the knee joints and hip joints. His ankle remains in a neutral position throughout this phase, and we can see that the athlete shows knee flexion and hip flexion. The main muscles involved include the hamstrings synergizing with the gastrocnemius when we see this knee flexion. As we can see, the upper extremity, there is no movement so far, but we'll see that through the final phase. The final phase, or the follow-through phase, shows the athlete driving his body up and extending his upper and lower body. In the lower extremity, the athlete's quadricep muscles and gastrocnemius contract, while the hamstring muscles extend. The athlete's hips are moving from a flexed position to an extended one. The hip extensor muscles are being contracted at this point. He also shows plantar flexion as well, where we can see the athlete balancing on his toes with his heels up. The main movers involved in plantar flexion are the gastrocnemius and the soleus. As the athlete fully releases the ball out of his hand, we can see in the upper body the tricep femoris muscles are being contracted. This is shown through the extension of the arm during the follow-through. The shoulder muscles are also being flexed when the ball is being raised above the athlete's head. Finally, the wrist muscles will go from extension to flexion as he is snapping his wrist through the follow-through.
You guys ready to learn the Master Obi-Wan Jinu secret to a perfect shot? #kinetics. Let's begin. So, when we shot the basketball, we measured the height, which is 3.05 meters, measured the distance, same thing, and the height of Master Obi-Wan Jinu, which is 1.8 meters. From there, we use the basic LUC physics equations of motion, which are these three right here. So we started with the bottom one first, and we bring it way up here, where we calculated to find the initial velocity for the y component, and we found out to be 4.95. From there, we went on to the second equation we have labeled here in order to find the time, and from there we found it to be 0.5 seconds. And then we move on to the next one, the third one, to find the initial velocity in the horizontal component, which we found up here. Here's the math board, which was 6.1 meters per second. So as you can see in the picture of Master Obi-Wan Jinu, I labeled the horizontal x component this way, and then the vertical this way of the initial velocities. From there, we use the Pythagorean theorem to find the initial velocity in the diagonal way, which we use down here, and we found out to be 7.86 meters per second, which is in this direction. And from there, we used to find the initial velocity in the horizontal, we used this to find the angle, and we found the angle to be 39.1 degrees. So, in order for Master Jinu to shoot a perfect shot every single time, he would have to use the initial velocity in a diagonal of 7.86 meters per second at a 39.1 degree.
There are many styles and forms that individuals might utilize when they shoot a free throw. Their forms are usually based on their body composition and whether they're left-handed or right-handed. But we believe that this is the most efficient form for shooting an accurate free throw shot. Well, at least for Jinu's case it is. Thank you so much guys for watching this video. Like, comment, subscribe if you like what you saw. We have new merch coming out in 2019. And go down in the comments below and tell me what is your favorite color. I'll catch you guys later.